Douglas Holtz-Eakin, the former Congressional Budget Office Director. Doug, where are we on this whole debt ceiling thing? It looks like it's going to happen for one thing, but it's always the same kabuki theater and the pressure getting it done. There's got to be a better way.
Yeah, there has to be a better way. Those who want to keep this approach argue that by having to raise the debt ceiling periodically, it reminds the Congress that we have a debt problem, and they'll get serious about fixing it.
But they never
I don't think there's any real evidence that's true.
No.
So you know, we're incurring the potential financial fallout of breaching the debt limit without getting a fix to these big spending programs. Indeed, we're contemplating more of them. So this isn't really working, Neil.
Now, the CBO is generally seen as the standard for approving or scoring whatever legislation Republicans or Democrats are working on up until this latest, read on spending. Democrats had supported whatever the CBO were to come out with. And then all of a sudden, the CBO takes a look at this if under the possibility that this is not the $3 trillion price tag that's championed, or $2 trillion, more like close to $5 trillion. That was really ripped apart by the administration, as was when the CBO said that this is going to cost, almost $700 billion more in lost revenues over the next 10 years. They didn't like that either. So I'm just wondering, you could pick and choose when you rely on the CBO, but it is what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, it is what it is. They took the Build Back Better Act at face value and said, look, it's not paid for, short by $367 billion. Then they were asked to look at it if all the programs were permanent, and they said, nope, it's short by another $3 trillion. They're just answering the questions the Congress is asking. And the administration really is trying to have it both ways. It wants to tell us that these programs are so good and so important that they're going to raise labor force participation, expand the supply side of the economy, and ease inflationary pressures. But they do that even if they go away? No, they have to be permanent for that to happen. And if they're permanent, then they cost $3 trillion more.
All right. Now, the president's saying, this will be paid for. It is paid for. There was a philosophical difference over the roughly $400 billion in revenue that you alluded to. This is an entirely different matter. Jen Psaki just criticized them. I think that is the CBO for going way beyond the established cost of the package. But if the president were to make good on his plan, every year we make sure this is paid for, taxes would go up, or the spending component of it would have to come down, or both. But what happens in that event?
Well, the CBO simply answered a question that was asked by the ranking members of the House and Senate budget committees. There's nothing fake about that. And the policy the administration has in place is to have these programs. They need another $3 trillion in pay for somewhere over the next decade to keep them. That means 3 times the tax increases they already have, or year after year, they cut $300 billion out of spending. So you tell me which of those is most likely to happen. I don't know, but all CBO did was highlight the fact that this is a big hole in the plan the administration has.
All right, and one of the reasons why Joe Manchin is a little reluctant right now to commit to this, at least right now. Douglas Holtz-Eakin, very good seeing you again, Doug. Thank you.